Hello everyone. In this class, I'm going to be teaching you how I make my carrot cake recipe. And for this particular carrot cake recipe, these are the ingredients we'll be needing for this particular cake. These are the ingredients. We have crushed pineapples, we have a grated carrots, we have our oil, and we have so many more ingredients, which is going to be listed in the box below. Make sure you try this recipe and make sure you drop your comments. And to start with, to begin with our carrot cake, we'll be sifting out all the dry ingredients in one bowl, and we have a wet ingredients in another bowl. So this is what we'll be doing. We already have a pre-measured sugar in here. I'm going to be pouring my oil into my pre-measured sugar. You can see what it looks like. And the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be pouring my eggs inside of it. I'm just going to use my whisk to whisk it a bit, just to break it down a bit. I'm just trying to break up the yolks and everything before pouring it inside my sugar. And at this point, it's been broken down a bit, so I'm just going to pour it into my mixture. So we have our eggs, our oil, and our sugar inside the bowl, and you mix properly. You mix everything together. And after mixing, you would set this aside. You set it aside, and you get your clean bowl here, and you have your sift also in here, and you measure out your flour. I'm going to be using 4 cups of flour in here. I already have it sifted, but I'm going to be sifting it once more. I always like sifting my flour because it allows air to go inside, so it doesn't get all clogged up when I'm using it in my batter. And that is 2 cups of flour, and I'm going to be mixing all the dry ingredients. This is my cinnamon powder, I have my salt in here, I have my baking soda, and I have my baking powder. And these are all my dry ingredients. Remember, I said it's going to be 4 cups of flour, so I'm going to be adding 2 more cups. And I'm going to sift everything together. And just to make sure I don't have anything left in my sieve, I'm using this to actually push down everything in my sieve. And it's only the salt I have in here. So as you can see, there's no lumps or anything, it's only the salt, and the salt, I still have to pour it back in my sifted dry ingredient. So that's the salt going back inside. I'm just going to keep this aside, and I'm going to go back to my frost mixture, which is the egg, the oil, and the egg, the oil, and the sugar. And you keep mixing. You mix for like 20 seconds or probably 30 seconds. You make sure you mix well properly. You can actually use your mixer for this particular process, but I'm just making use of my hands because it's an oil-based mixture, so I'm using my hands, but you can actually make use of your cake mixer. And once you're done mixing, then you begin to add all your dry ingredients together. And when you finish adding all your dry ingredients together, it's ready to be poured in your cake pan. I'm going to be using a 8 inches cake pan for this particular carrot cake recipe. So in here we already have my oil, my oil, sugar, and our eggs. Everything has been mixed properly, and what we do now is we begin to add our dry ingredients inside gradually. And you begin to fold. You continue pouring your dry ingredients at intervals, not everything at once, until you fold everything inside your mixture. And as you're folding your dry ingredients, your flour and every other dry ingredient, you begin to pour your crushed pineapples inside. You can see what our crushed pineapples look like. So you begin to pour inside. I just used like half of it. And you continue mixing. And because the crushed pineapple is crushed and it still has some little liquid inside, it gives it that loose texture. You can see what the texture looks like. And last but not the least, we pour the last dry ingredients inside and mix. And at this point, we'll pour our last set of crushed pineapples inside. We have our grated carrots. You can see what it looks like. It's been grated for some time now, so the color is beginning to look darker, but there's actually nothing wrong with it, but it's still absolutely okay. You can use it. So everything I'm using has been pre-measured out, which I'm going to be dropping the recipe below. So you're going to mix everything together, and last but not the least is going to be my walnuts, which I'm going to be pouring inside my batter. And see my walnuts. It depends on how you want your carrot cake fruity, but for me, I feel this is okay for me. This is fine. Just going to transfer this one here. Like I said earlier, you can actually make use of almonds. You can make use of any type of nuts you want, but I prefer using walnuts inside my carrot cake because the taste is totally different. Just gives you that crunchy taste and the crunchiness when you're chewing your cake. It's really nice. It's not a regular cake I make every time, but we have a particular client that requested for this one, and so that is why we are having to do and to make our carrot cake. You can see what the texture looks like. You can see what the texture looks like. You can see it's not that hard. It still gives you that runny effect. You can see what it looks like. And I'm actually going to be pouring it into my 8 inches pan. So now I'm going to be pouring my cake batter into my pan. I already have my pan lined with my pan release. I already have it. I use the brush for it. It has the pan release and a bit of flour inside of it. I'm going to be showing you how I make my pan release. It's really nice. It's a very good recipe for those of you that bake always. You can actually use it without using your paper liner inside, but for today I'm going to be using the pan release and the flour is inside, but I'm still going to be putting my paper liner inside, my parchment paper. It has been cut already to the size of the pan, so you can see what it looks like. So I'm going to be pouring my ready-made carrot cake batter inside, and we'll bake. And you can actually bake this for, because you can actually bake this for the next 50 minutes to 1 hour, depending on your oven and depending on the temperature you're actually using in your oven. So I'm going to be showing you the results of the cake once it's baked. Make sure you like and you subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Can you all see? This is what our carrot cake looks like. This is the outcome of our carrot cake. It's so moist, so soft that I had to put it in the freezer. And I'm going to be covering the carrot cake today.